Okay, so welcome everybody. We're going to start off our gentle class on our backs today. So come on down to your back. This side. Come on down to your back and set yourself up for comfort in Shavasana. So on your back with your blanket under the head, with a bolster under the knees if you like. Stretching out with your arms slightly away from your body, palms up. Relax your shoulders and close your eyes. So on your back in Shavasana, allow your feet to fall open, allow your arms to be heavy, hands and fingers soft, feet and toes relaxed. And we're just taking a moment at the start of the class to prepare our minds and bodies for yoga. So we start off with breath flowing in and out through the nose, breathing in and out through the nose. And as you start to pay attention to your breath, you'll notice that your breath will start to lengthen and draw out, and you want to encourage that. So deeper inhales, lungs filling up all the way up to the collarbone. And then as you exhale, slow it down, pushing out all that air. As you breathe in, expand fully. And as you exhale, find softness. Relax your face, the skin around your eyes, your cheeks, and your jaw. Allow your shoulders to relax. Breathing out tension from your chest, your belly, your low back. And just a few more breaths here. As the body begins to relax, allow the mind to settle as well. Let us set aside everything else. And do our best to be in the moment, present, being right here, right now. A few more deep breaths. And one more. A soft exhale out through the mouth, soft sigh. You can keep your eyes closed here. Keep your eyes closed, but start to wake up the body by moving your fingers and your toes. And start to roll out the wrists and ankles. So draw circles with those wrists and ankles. And then doing the same thing in the other direction, switching it around. And then relax your limbs and let your chin drop towards one shoulder. Draw back to the center and drop to the other shoulder. So just let the chin rotate side to side. Simply waking up the body, shoulders, neck. And then relax and come back to the center. Sit in your back. Walk your feet in a little closer towards the body so that the feet are on the ground and the knees are bent. And as you exhale, let both knees drop over to one side and turn your chin to the opposite side. As you inhale, draw back to center. Exhale, knees drop to the opposite side, chin to the other side. So just simply letting the knees drop side to side. And then start to link your breath to the movement. Inhale as you draw the knees back to the center. Exhale as you let the knees drop to the other side. Just a few more times here on your own. Perfect. Inhale your way back to the center and then gather your knees in for a hug, holding onto your kneecaps. And squeezing your knees in and then keeping your knees together, draw small circles with those knees. Small circles a few times in one direction, 4 or 5 times, and then switch directions. And then move your way back to the middle, back to the center. Squeeze your knees in towards the chest. Feel the compression of your thigh against the belly. If you want a little bit more, you can try squeezing and lifting your chin towards the knees, lifting your shoulders and head off the mat, squeezing into a tight ball. And then as you exhale, release and stretch your hands and feet in the opposite direction. So nice and long. And with your inhale, find a little bit more length to the spine, little reach, and then exhale to relax, just let your body melt into the floor. Again, you can inhale, reach from toes to fingertips, nice reach. And then exhale, soften. And one more time, big reach, and relax. Release your arms by your sides. Sweep it down by your side, slightly away from the body, palms up. And walk your feet in towards the body, towards the hips, so that the feet are flat on the ground, feet about hips width apart, and the knees are pointed up towards the ceiling. Let's warm up the body a little bit more with our bridge flow. So pushing the feet into the floor, pick your hips off the mat. Don't worry how high they lift, and then lower the hips back down onto the mat. Okay, keeping the thighs in line with one another. We exhale to pick the hips off the mat, pushing into the floor with the feet, and then lower, roll the spine down onto the mat. So you can stick with that, moving with the breath, lifting the hips up and down. Begin to warm up those hip flexors and the spine and the legs. And you can add arms too if you wish. As you lift the hips off the mat, reach your arms overhead, all the way behind you. And as you lower the hips down into the ground, arms can relax by your sides. So that's just an option to add arms. You can just keep your arms just by your sides. A few more, please. Looks great. One more. And then release and roll the spine all the way down to the ground and gather your knees in for a hug again. Some intuitive movements, whether it's rocking side to side, front to back, or in circular movement. All right. As you come back to the middle, wrap your hands around either your right thigh or right shin bone and straighten out that left leg. So it can be straight on the mat, or if that's too hard on the low back, keep that left knee slightly bent. We start off with a little compression. So you want to feel your thigh squeeze in towards the belly, a little compression pressing towards the thigh towards the belly, excuse me. A little press. And then release the compression. And then we'll move the entire right leg in a circle so that the movement is coming from that right hip joint, that ball and socket joint. So, small movements to start off with. And when you start to limber up, when you warm up a little bit more, try and look for a little bigger circle. See if you can push it out a little bit more. And then switch directions. And then come back to the middle, back to the center. Let the same right knee, keep it bent, but let the knee drop towards the left side. So you can use your opposite hand to guide the knee over, and you'll feel the right hip lift slightly off the ground. We're looking for a spinal twist. So the right shoulder remains on the ground, and you can use your right arm to stretch out on the mat to just keep that right shoulder grounded that way. A couple more deep breaths. And unwind your way back to the center. Release that and switch those legs around. So gather your left knee in towards the chest and straighten out that right leg on the mat. Then make modifications, adjustments. We start off with a compression. So you want to feel, again, the pressure of your thigh against the belly if possible. A little squeeze. Keep the breath flowing here. One more deep breath. And then release that. And let's move the entire left leg again. Movements coming from that left hip joint. Feel a little creaking and cracks. That's perfectly normal. Let's switch directions. Great. Coming back to the middle. Take it into a spinal twist. Right hand on your left knee. Let the left knee draw towards the right, lifting the left hip slightly off the ground. And you're trying to keep that left shoulder grounded. So you can stretch your left arm out if you have the room for it. And just the weight of your arm will keep that shoulder down. One more breath here. And just come back to the center. Unwind back to the middle. Okay. And then straighten out your legs for a moment. Pedal out the feet, bending one knee and the other. Just a little movement, gentle movement. And then we are going to squeeze the knees in towards the chest once again so that you can safely roll over to one side and push up into a comfortable seated position. So take your time to roll up into seated. If you have a hard time sitting upright in easy pose, cross-legged pose, you can sit up on a blanket or a pillow. This gives you a little lift. So this is our easy pose. We have one shin set up in front of the other. And if you have your hips slightly elevated, it's easier to do that. If you want to find a different configuration that you're more comfortable in, half lotus or even just cobblers pose, you're more than welcome to do that. Okay. We'll start off with seated cats and cows. So hands are resting on your knees or on your thighs. We take an inhale to lean forward. So leaning forward slightly. And then as you exhale, you'll draw back. Inhale forward. And then exhale back. And now we start to play around with the curve of our spine. So as you inhale, you lean forward, chest forward, and chin lifts up slightly. So you feel a little bit of length and stretch to the front of the body. And then as you exhale, you'll take it back, rounding the spine and feeling the stretch to the back of the body again instead. But inhale forward, then exhale, take it back, rounding the spine, chin tucking in slightly. And you go at your own pace, close your eyes, feel more comfortable that way. And you can start to exaggerate the movement too. Smooth movement like you're flowing through thick molasses. Keep that breath flowing as well. Two more. Okay, the last one. And then finding your way back to seated upright. And switch those legs around if you like. And then we're going to flow. Place your hands on your thighs with the on your knees with the palms facing upwards. And then with your inhale, reach your arms overhead. Interlace your fingers and press the palms up towards the ceiling. Big inhale. And then exhale to release a big circle slightly behind you and come all the way back to the front. Bring your hands into prayer. Palms up on your knees. Inhale, reach your arms overhead. Interlace fingers and press up. And release, reach your arms behind you. A big stretch, nice stretch to the chest. And circle all the way back to the front. Bring your hands into prayer. One more time, palms up. Take an inhale, sweep your arms overhead. Interlace fingers, press the palms up. A little bit more lift, and release and reach behind you. And release that. Place your right hand on the ground. Take your left hand and reach it up and over. Let's hold it here, 2 or 3 breaths. One more. And inhale to sweep back upright and switching direction to your other side. 2 more deep breaths. Good. Inhale, come on back up, upright. We'll place one foot on the ground. Let's take our right foot and place it on the ground. And your left foot, tuck it in slightly closer towards the body. Interlace your fingers around the shin of that right leg so that you can draw yourself upright, seated upright a little bit more. Shoulders relax in neutral position. So you'll feel perhaps the pressure of your belly against the thigh. Okay? And then we're twisting towards the knee. So it will be the opposite arm, your left arm that wraps around the right knee. So it can be a little wrap, it can be a big wrap, but try to keep the chest pretty close to your thigh even as you take the twist. And the other hand is just behind you there for a little support. And softly turn your gaze as well so that you're gazing behind you. One more breath. And then unwind your way back to the front, and we'll switch those legs around. One foot down, the other foot pretty close to the body. Start by interlacing the fingers around the shin. Again, we're looking for a tall spine. Use your hands to pull your body closer so that your chest is close to the thigh. And then we're twisting towards the knee. So opposite hand around the knee or the thigh, entire arm. And then a soft gaze behind you. Other hand is there just for a little support. Your belly leaning into it. One more breath. Perfect. Unwind back to the front and then come into a comfortable seated position. Just do a little bit more neck stretch before we go ahead with some other poses on our hands and knees. So for now, we're stretching the right neck. So the left ear drops towards the left shoulder. So if you feel enough of a neck stretch, you'll just stay right there. If you need a little bit more, that right hand can reach away from the body. Now, of course, if you need more, you can even use your other hand to deepen the stretch. Just be careful. Oftentimes, you don't even really need that. You'll feel the stretch already. And if you turn your chin down, maybe you'll change the stretch a little. So chin towards the left shoulder. And then come on back up, and let's make sure you do the opposite side. Same thing here, ear towards the shoulder, and if you need more, creep the hand away from the body to deepen the stretch. You can use your other hand to deepen the stretch as well. And then turn your chin towards the right shoulder. One more breath. Good, and then come on back to the center and just on your own here, shoulder rolls 2 or 3 times in one direction and then switch directions. Good. Perfect. So let's find our way into our tabletop pose, coming down to our hands and knees. And as usual, if your mat's a little thin or your floor is kind of hard, simple blanket under the knee for added cushioning. Okay. So tabletop pose, it's on our hands and knees for this one. A good spread to the fingers, knees about hips width apart. And if your wrist hurts, you can always make fists with those hands instead, or even come down to your forearms. Okay? So that's a good modification. Spreading those fingers and pushing down into the fingertips really does help for this one. Take some weight off the wrist. Push down into the hands and arch the spine. Cat pose. Okay. Inhale to let the belly drop and lift the chin slightly. And then exhale, arch and round the spine. And inhale, cow pose. Lifting the chin, pulling the chest through those arms. One more time. Okay, and then we're coming back to that neutral spine. And next, we're staying still in our tabletop. So we had moved our spine in cats and cows, so lifting the spine and then lowering the spine. But now we're going to do it side to side. So we're drawing a C with the spine in one direction and then reverse the other direction. So right here, we're in tabletop. We're going to bring one hip closer towards the shoulder. So it's not going to be a lot, but you'll feel the stretch of the side body on one side and a compression on the other side. And then inhale to come back to center, and then hips and shoulders on the other side, so go closer together. Then inhale back to center, and draw C on one side, and then reverse that. Again, it's not going to be a lot here, but you're doing your best to just shorten the distance between the shoulder and the hip. One more on each side. And then coming back to a neutral spine and moving into wide knee child's pose. Take the knees out a little wider, bring the toes together and sink the hips back towards the hips. Forehead touches the ground, or if that's too far away from you, you can stack your forearms and rest your head on the forearms instead. One more breath here. Okay, moving back up into tabletop, we're coming into puppy pose. So still on your knees, tuck your toes under and walk your hands forward. Let the head drop in between the arms. So get a nice long spine here, straight spine, trying to get the line straight from fingertips towards the hips. If you're pretty open in the shoulders, you can even let the chest melt so that it becomes a little bit more of a back bend, and you'll feel the stretch of the shoulders and the underarms and the front of the chest. Take 2 more deep breaths wherever you are. And then walk your hands back in, come back up into tabletop, give those toes a little wiggle. And next, we're still in our tabletop, and we're coming into bird dog pose. So a little bit of work for the core. So on your hands and knees here, take your right leg and stretch it straight back. Okay? So you want to try to keep the hips and the shoulders level to the ground, chest facing the ground. And if you want a little bit more, you'll take the left arm, the opposite arm, and stretch it ahead in front of you. So looking for length, stability, and keeping the breath flowing. So often we try to hold our breath here so that it's not to wobble, but keep the breath flowing. And one more. Okay, lower the left hand down onto the ground and do your best to draw that right knee in towards the nose towards the knee, running the spine. Best effort, and then come back to your tabletop. Switching sides, take the left leg and stretch it back. Toes pointed down, hips level. You can stay right here or reach that right arm forward. One more. Right hand down and slowly left knee draws in and just best effort again, knee towards the nose towards the knee, rounding the spine and coming into your tabletop. We'll give the wrist a bit of a break and we'll come onto our belly instead. So you can move those blankets off to the sides and we're coming down to our belly for Sphinx pose. So moving all the way down. So in Sphinx pose, we have our elbows at a 90-degree angle. So making sure the elbow is stacked under the shoulders. Nice spread to the fingers, toes pointed back with the feet about hips width apart. So you can see me. There we go. All right. We are pulling the chest forward slightly. So it's just a slight drag. If this feels too hard on your low back, it's too much of a back bend going on, you can always walk the hands a little further forward. It lessens the back bend. The belly releases a little bit more to the ground. So close your eyes here or keep your gaze soft down the nose. Great. One more. And then all the way down to the floor, bringing the right cheek down. Pick your feet off the mat and let your feet sway side to side. Gentle windshield wiper movement. Okay, coming back to the middle, release your feet down onto the mat. And then we're going to use our back muscles to give us that back bend. So to do this, we're going to stretch those arms out by your side with the fingertips down on the ground. Fingertips on the ground like you're cupping your hands over cupcakes and you're trying not to smoosh the icing. So feet down. We're pushing the fingertips onto the ground to help lift the chest off the ground. So only going as high as is comfortable for you, where we're engaging the back muscles. We're looking for length in the spine. Fingertips there just to help us lift. Two more. And one, release all the way down to the ground. Bring the left cheek down to the mat, arms relax. Pick the feet off the mat. And let the feet sway side to side, gentle windshield wiper movement. And we're going to work on those back muscles still, but this time the upper body is going to be just the one that remains on the ground, and we're lifting just the legs. So you can stack your hands and place your head on the hands. And I'm just going to lift up so you can hear me, but you'll stay with your head on the hands. Feet about hips width apart. The head still remains on the hands still on the ground, but we're using the low back muscles to pick the feet off the mat. So it can be a slight lift, your legs are still straight, or if you're a little stronger, you can try to pick the feet up a little higher so that you feel some of your thigh lift off the ground. So let's keep breathing here. Two more. And then release and lower the feet down onto the ground. Hands by your chest. Push up as though you're coming back into tabletop. Keep those toes tucked under, knees a little closer together. Toes tucked under. Sink your hips back towards the heels with your hands reaching forward. So rounding the spine slightly. And let your head drop a little bit more. And then coming back up into tabletop, give those toes a little wiggle. If it's okay for you to come into downward facing dog, please do so. Downward dog, the inverted V shape, so you can pedal up the feet here, bending one knee and then the other. If that doesn't feel good, down dog is not good for you. Just stay in tabletop and simply stretch those legs out one at a time. All right. Whenever you're ready, come into a forward bend. And you can do this by walking your hands in or walking your feet forward. So you'll arrive in standing forward bend with your knees slightly bent and your head hanging down. And feel free to move around a little here. You can nod your head, shake your head, or sway the body side to side. Perfect. When you're ready, you'll begin to make your way up to standing. So take your time, no rush at all, 2 or 3 breaths to lift all the way up. Bend your knees all the way up. Shoulders away from the ears, making adjustments that you need to make. Grab a sip of water if you have it handy, and then we'll do some half sun salutations. Ready? Standing with your feet about hips width apart or just slightly closer. Standing tall, bring your hands into prayer, shoulders away from the ears in a neutral position. Feel a lift to the crown of the head even as you ground your feet, growing just a little taller. And then with your next inhale, reach your arms overhead, sweep them overhead, let the palms touch briefly. As you exhale, straight legs and long spine, fold as far as you can that way with straight legs and long spine. And then when you can't anymore, release into forward bend. Your knees can be a little bent here. Next inhale, lift up halfway. Think figure 7 shape with straight legs and long spine, hands on the shin or on your thigh. Next exhale, fold again, forward bend. And inhale, coming all the way back up. I like knees bent and back flat all the way back up. Palms touch, figure gentle back bend at the very top, and hands in prayer. Again, inhale, reach your arms overhead. Exhale, fold, forward bend. Inhale, lift up halfway, flat back. Exhale, fold again. And inhale, coming all the way back up. Gentle back bend, and exhale, hands in prayer. Keep on going that way. Inhale, reach your arms overhead. Exhale, fold forward bend. Inhale, lift up halfway. Exhale, fold. And inhale, all the way back up. And exhale, hands in prayer. Adding on, inhale, let's reach the arms overhead. Lower your left hand down by your thigh, and then reach your right hand up and to the opposite side, so you create that crescent shape. The other hand slides down the leg. One more. Inhale to come back up, and we'll switch it around. So the hands on the thigh, it slides down the leg as your upper arm, upper hand reaches to the opposite side. Nice, one more. Inhale to come back up, right? Reach your arms overhead, big reach. Exhale to fold, forward bend. Inhale, lift up halfway. Exhale to fold again. And inhale, sweeping all the way back up. And exhale, hands in prayer. Inhale, reach your arms overhead. Interlace fingers, pointed index fingers. And do your best to keep the biceps pretty close to the ears. It's okay if your elbow is slightly bent. Take an inhale to stand a little taller. Exhale over to one side. Your hips will move slightly to the other side so that you create this crescent shape. Next, inhale, come back to the center. Exhale, other side. Great. Inhale, coming back to the center. Release the hands and interlace the fingers behind you. Or if you have a hard time doing that, grab opposite forearms or opposite wrists instead. So we're going to try to lift the chest as though you're projecting your chest up towards the ceiling. And as you do that, squeeze the shoulder blades together as though you're trying to bring those arms in towards one another, thinking of even touching them. Not going to happen, but we're thinking of it. We're going to lift the chest up, get a good, great neck stretch here as well. One more. And the next exhale, begin to fold into a forward bend. So we soften and fold into a forward bend. Knees can be slightly bent here. And if you have a hard time lifting your hands off the hips, you can just keep the hands on the low back and work on squeezing the shoulder blades together. If your hands are off the hips, you're working your pinky fingers towards the ceiling or towards the front of the mat. One more breath here. Release and lower, release your hands down to the mat. Just let the arms dangle. Next, inhale, lift up halfway, flat back. Exhale, fold forward bend. Inhale, coming all the way back up. Gentle back bend, and exhale, hands in prayer. Inhale, reach your arms overhead. Grab left hand, your right elbow with your left hand. There we go. Okay, so the elbow that's pointed up towards the ceiling, you want to lift it up and reach it to the opposite side. Again, we're taking that side stretch, but adding on a tricep stretch, the right tricep. One more here. Looks great. Come on back up and then switch it around. Okay, so grab the opposite elbow and elbow up and over. Unwind back to face forward and release those hands. Roll your shoulders up towards the ears. Squeeze the shoulders back and down again. Back and down one more time. Back and down. Okay, and then we're adding on a twist. So bring your arms into cactus arms. Plant your feet firmly on the ground and we'll rotate the chest to one side. Okay. So spinal twist. If you can stay right here, or you can press your palms out so that the fingertips are pointed up towards the ceiling so that you get a little bit of a forearm stretch too. Gaze over behind you, the wall behind you. Unwind your way back to the center. Let's do the same thing, other side. Rotate your chest to the opposite side. And an option to reach those palms out, fingertips pointing upwards. Press the palms outwards. And unwind your way back to the front. Arms in cactus arms. We're going to reach those arms up now. And then exhale to fold forward bend. Inhale, lift up halfway. Exhale to fold. And inhale, coming all the way back up. Gentle back bend and exhale, hands in prayer. Just release the hands for a moment and we're going to roll the shoulders the opposite direction. So rolling the shoulders up to the ears, roll them forward and down. Up, forward and down. Once more, up, forward and down. And then bring those shoulders back to a neutral position.
We're going to practice our balance pose, which will be our 3 pose. And we're starting off with the left foot on the ground. So if you have a hard time with balance, the wall is really handy as well. Just have it close to you. You can even have your body right up against the wall if balance is an issue. Okay, so left foot's on the ground, hands in prayer to begin with. Find a spot to focus on, so a spot that's not moving. And transfer your weight to that balancing leg, and your other foot will come into the inseam of that balancing leg. The knee presses open slightly. And if you're looking to come up a little higher, you can avoid the knee, that's best. So either on your calf or on your inner thigh. Okay? One or the other. If it's okay to reach your arms overhead, you go ahead and do that. Palms apart is a little easier on the balance. One more breath here. Good. Release your hands back to prayer and lower that foot down to the ground and give it a little bit of movement, and we will switch to the other side. Okay. Find your gaze, your drishti, your gaze, and focus on a single spot that's not moving, and then bring your other foot up into the inseam of that balancing leg. Right. Again, there is a little pressure of the foot against the calf, so if you have it in the knee, it's better to bring it down below the knee or above the knee on your thighs. If you're feeling steady and you want to reach those arms overhead, go ahead and do that. One more. Nicely done. Bring your hands back into prayer and lower the foot back down into the ground. Give a little bit of movement, and we're going to finish off our half consultation. One more. Take out inhale, reach the arms overhead. Exhale, fold. Inhale, half lift. Exhale, fold again. And inhale, coming all the way back up. Exhale, hands in prayer. Perfect. All right, grab a sip of water if you need it. And we're going to do our low lunge. So for that one, we are on our knees. So again, if you need some cushioning for the knees, do that. If you have blocks handy for your low lunge, you can simply grab that as well. So we'll start off in our down dog or tabletop, and we'll bring the right foot forward. So we'll step the right foot forward, help it up so that when you stack the front knee over the front ankle, your back knee is at least slightly behind the hips, because we're looking to stretch the hip flexor muscle. And if it's not far back enough, you're not quite getting a stretch. Okay? So you need to move that knee back a little bit. Pressing the hips down and forward. Your hands can remain on the ground here, or you can bring your hands up onto your front thigh, lifting the belly off the thigh. And it doesn't matter which one you do, as long as you're feeling the stretch at the front of that left hip. So we'll stay here for about 3 more breaths. So you're thinking of pressing that left thigh down as though you're trying to place it on the ground. And if you have your hands on the front thigh and you want to add just a little bit more, you can lift your left hand up towards the ceiling, and that just lengthens the left side a little bit more. And you can also lift the right hand up, and that introduces some balance as well. So pick and choose the one that you want to do today. Go at your own level. And take one more. And wherever you are, we release and shift the hips back slightly so that you can walk that front foot back, stay in tabletop, Straighten one leg and then the other, or come into down facing dog and do the same thing, pedal out the feet. Okay. So next we'll be stepping the left foot forward. So the one that feels funny, the one that we just stretched out, that's the one that we'll be stepping forward. Again, front knee over the front ankle so that the shin bone is straight up and down like a lamp post. And the right knee is slightly behind you. To start off with the hands on the ground, pressing the right thigh bone down towards the mat. If you want a little bit more, hands on the front thigh as you lift your belly off the thigh, your shoulders rolling back and down, your chin lifts up slightly. So for this pose, we'll stay here a couple more breaths. And remember, you can choose to remain as you are or add a little bit more by lifting either just that right hand up towards the ceiling or both hands. So 3 breaths here. Good, one more. And release your hands down onto the ground. Shift your hips back slightly so that you can bring that left foot in. And right in tabletop here, straightening one leg and then the other. Or come into downward facing dog and pedal out. Next, we're coming down into a seated position. So coming down and grabbing a seat. Okay. Stretching your legs out in front of you. And taking a simple forward bend. So with the inhale, lift and lengthen through the spine. And then you can stay right here. If you're feeling the stretch, just stay right here, hands by your side to help you lean forward. If you could use a little bit more, lift your arms over here to find some length in the spine and grab a hold of whatever's available to you, whether it's your calf, your ankle, or your feet. For this pose today, we want to try to create a long spine and straight legs. So your spine and your legs look like an acute angle. Okay, so whether it's 90 degrees or a little bit further forward, but doing your best to keep the spine long. So sometimes the spine will round out. You'll feel that rounding happening. For this pose, we want to squeeze the shoulder blades together and think of pulling your belly forward so that the spine is a little longer. Okay? Belly forward, shoulders back, and shoulder blades squeeze us together even as you bow forward. Let's take a couple more deep breaths here. Good, one more. All right. Inhale to come back upright. You can relax your feet now. Walk your hands behind you so that the fingertips are pointed towards the back. So as though you're leaning back and basking in the sunshine. Okay. So you can walk your hands a little further back. If you're not quite feeling a little bit of a stretch of the shoulders, the front of the chest, walk the hands back a little bit more. Now, very slowly, because it happens really quickly, lift your chest up towards the ceiling, projecting your chest up. So a little will be intense enough. Okay, so a little bit of movement will be quite an intense stretch. So just go slowly, puff your chest up towards the ceiling, point your toes. And take one more. Okay, release that. Relax the belly, walk those hands back in. Sometimes you feel this in your elbows, so just give it a little bit of movement. Right, so we're coming down onto our back and doing our supported fish pose. So this is where we will need our bolsters or our rolled up blanket. So we're going to roll it up and you can create as much height as you want with your blanket. Okay, so what we're interested in is to stretch out the front of the chest. So in order to do that, you need to lift your chest off the ground. Okay, so the length of the spine will be on your prop. If you bring your blanket down a little closer towards the hip, it will support a little bit of your low back as well. So we're going to lie back on it. Lie back on the blanket and stretch those arms out. And around shoulder height, if it feels too much shoulder height, you can bring your arms down a little lower. If shoulder height is not quite enough, you can try lifting the arms overhead. So feeling really open that way. And as for your legs, if your low back's bothering you, just let those knees collapse towards one another. If it's no problem to stretch those legs out, you can do that. Cobblers pose is a great alternative here as well. Soles of the feet together, knees open up. Feels quite open here with your legs in cobblers pose. So do your best to feel safe and secure in your own space today. Feel yourself grow heavy and melt into your mat. Letting your arms and legs grow heavy and soften your face. Slow down the breath. Great. Take 3 more deep breaths. 2 more. And then 1 more breath here. All right. You have your arms overhead, lower them by your side so that you can safely roll off of your bolster, off of your blanket, roll over to one side. Rest your hand on your head on your forearms so that you can create a little pillow there. And coming into that fetal position with your spine slightly rounded. And then we're coming down onto our backs once again. So you move the prop from under of you and just simply roll onto your back, knees in for a hug and then roll out, soothing movement with some other intuitive movement. And then we're doing a stretch for the hips, our figure 4 stretch. So start by lowering the feet down onto the mat and propping one ankle on top of the other, on top of the thigh, just slightly above where the knee is. And that the knee presses away from you so that you create the inverted figure 4 shape. And you can stay right there. Or if you want a little bit more, you can lift the bottom foot off the ground. And even more, you can wrap your hands, interlace the fingers around the thigh that's further away from you. And that way you can draw the knee in closer and deepen the stretch. So all this is good. Just pick one that works well for you. You're able to feel the stretch. Your head and shoulders still on the ground so that you can simply breathe comfortably and deeply and focus on the hip stretch. So stay here for at least 3 to 5 more breaths. And release that so that you can switch those legs around. Other ankle on your thigh, press the knee away from the body, and then choose to deepen it or remain as you are. If you're wrapping your hands around the thigh, make sure it's the thigh that's further away from you.
And release that and cross those legs, feet on the ground. Take those windshield wipers, just let those knees drop side to side. And we're going to finish off with a reclined spinal twist. So there's a supine, a twist that's on your back. And if you have a favorite twist that you'd like to do instead, you're welcome to do that one instead. So simply on your back here, we gather the right knee in towards the chest and stretch out that left leg. And this is exactly what we did in the beginning of the class. You take your opposite hand on the outside of that bent knee and you guide the knee to the opposite side. And with your other arm, the opposite arm, your right arm will stretch out shoulder height. Chin tucks to the opposite side of the knee as well. So we stay here for about 3 to 5 breaths. Hopefully this final twist feels better than the first time you did it. Unwind your way back to the center and switch that around. So your left knee is in, right hand to the outside of the left knee. And then guide that left knee over to the right. And the left arm is stretched out shoulder height. Your chin tucks towards the left shoulder. And unwind your way back to the center. Make sure your hips are centered with the shoulders. Take any final movements here, whether it's a roll out, another stretch. And then set yourself up for comfort for Shavasana. So simply stretch those legs out. You turn down the light, grab a hold of your blankets, stretch your arms out, and then you slowly begin to let go of tension and start to let it flow off of you, seep off of you. And feeling those arms and legs grow heavy. Relaxing your hips, your belly, and your chest. And as you exhale, breathe out tension from your shoulders and your neck and soften your facial features. Let your tongue fall away from the roof of your mouth and feel your jaw relax that way. Skin around your eyes, the forehead, soft. Feeling calmness all the way from feet to the crown of the head. And enjoy your Shavasana. Enjoy peace.
Slowly, peacefully, and calmly make your way back onto your mat and onto your space. Take those deeper breaths and wake up your body with some small movements. Fingers, toes, wrists, and ankles. And letting the head drop side to side. If you'd like to take a big stretch, reach your arms overhead and stretch long from toes to fingertips. Big inhale, and then exhale to release that. Perhaps a hug of the knees into the chest. One last roll out. When you're ready, come back up into that comfortable seated position. And as always, we'll close off the class together with that big inhale in through the nose, and then just a big sigh, a big exhale out through the mouth. Let's do that together as a group. Take a big inhale, a big Thank you very much for joining me today, and namaste.